Hi, now we're going to talk about writing absolute value functions. The absolute value function f of x is equal to the absolute value of x can be written as a piecewise function. As you see, f of x is equal to negative x, or the opposite of x, if x is less than 0. Or f of x is equal to x if x is greater than or equal to 0. Similarly, the piecewise form of an absolute value function, g of x is equal to a times the absolute value of x minus h plus k, can be written as a piecewise function. G of x is equal to a times the quantity negative, the opposite of x minus h, close parenthesis, close bracket, plus k, if x minus h is equal to 0. If f of x minus h is less than 0. Or a times x minus h plus k if x minus h is greater than or equal to 0. In example 5, writing an absolute value function, we see the following. In holography, light from a laser beam is split into two beams, a reference beam and an object beam. Light from the object beam reflects off an object and is recombined with the reference beam to form images on film that can be used to create three-dimensional images, or holograms. A, write an absolute value function that represents the path of the reference beam. And B, write the function in part A as a piecewise function. So the solution. The vertex of the path of the reference beam is 5, comma 8. So the function has the form g of x is equal to a times x minus 5 plus 8. Remember the vertex 5, 8. This is h is 5 and 8 is k. Substitute the coordinates of the point 0, 0 into the equation and solve for a. So here we see g of x is equal to a times the absolute value of x minus 5 plus 8. And then we can put in the point 0, 0 because it goes through the origin 0, 0. So g of x, remember that's y, so we'll put 0 in for g of x, or y. And a we do not know yet, that's what we're trying to find. X is 0 minus 5 plus 8. And then 0 is equal to a times absolute value. 0 minus 5 would just be negative 5, so the absolute value of negative 5 plus 8. So 0 is equal to absolute value of negative 5 is 5 times a would be 5a plus 8. We then want to subtract 8 from both sides to get closer to having a alone. I'll take this up here. So we get negative 8 is equal to 5a. Then we divide both sides by 5 to get a alone, and then we say a is equal to negative 8/5, which in decimal form would be negative 1.6. So then we can substitute this in, and we get g of x is equal to negative 1.6 times the absolute value of x minus 5 plus 8. We can rewrite this as g of x is equal to negative 1.6 times the quantity opposite of x minus 5, close brackets, plus 8 if x minus 5 is less than 0, or negative 1.6 times x minus 5 plus 8 if x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 0. Now if we simplify this all down, and I won't go through the process of doing that, I'll leave that up to you, we get the two pieces. The first one, or the top one, being 1.6x if x is less than 5, or negative 1.6x plus 16 if x is greater than or equal to 5. And if you need a little help understanding that, please feel free to come and ask me. Remember that struggling through these things is good for you. We'll see you in the next lesson.